All right. So let's hop in. Hopefully everybody else had a great week last week. Um, and were productive and was able to move your business forward. Even if you took small steps, that's all good because even small steps over time accumulate, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So we all know to be TCPA compliant. Don't be out there calling people that you shouldn't be because they will eventually get upset and try to sue if they're on the do not call list. All our lists should be scrubbed. So let's go into Los Angeles County and what our let's move this up. Yeah, there we go. And what our sales trends are for last week. All right, this is we're always looking at month over month, current month over month. So the 1st through the 19th versus last month, 1st through the 19th. And then we also look over year, right? So January 1 until April 19th versus last year, January 1 versus April 19th. Now, this column I don't focus so much on because it really just looks over um, the month last year, April versus this year, April, right? So I don't focus as much on that. So let's go ahead and look at month over month comparison right now for sale properties. We're up 8.7% over last month. And then looking at last year, our trend, we're up 45.1% for sale properties, properties that are actually on the market. So that is a lot, right? We're up. Inventory has been up. If you listen to any of the credible news sources, we know that the industry, the predictions have been that we're going to have more inventory, we're going to have more sales. Well, the predictions are that we're going to have more inventory is absolutely keeping its word. However, the more sales is what's been lagging. Okay. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. So sold properties are up 14.7% over last month, which is great. Okay. That is properties that have closed escrow, and we're overall year to date, we're up 0.1%. So barely beating out what we did last year. Okay. Pendants are down 3.8% over last month and up 1.1% over last year. So in the year to date column, we are 3 out of 3 of our sales trends are in the green, which is a great sign. Okay. That means we're moving positive as compared to last year. New listings are down 11.6% over last month. Okay. However, overall, we're up 16.3% over last year, again, which is great because we want to see new listings that were not available last year, that are available now. Okay. So we've got new listing inventory up 16.3%, which is great over last year. Average active price has gone down 1.9% over last month. So down average active price. Basically, sellers are asking for on average 1.9% less than they did last month. And overall, they are asking 7.9% less than they did last year. Okay. So although we're seeing, well, not although, but we're seeing more inventory, which typically means that you're going to have less, prices are going to have more pressure to go down. And we're seeing that right here. However, we've been in a starved inventory, county. All of our counties are starved for inventory, right? A starved for inventory market. We're in a severe seller's market. So now that we're moving closer to that buyer's market, we thought that we would see prices still go up. And that is true when you look at the sold price. So just because sellers are on average asking for 7.9%, you see here, they're receiving 9.1% higher than they were last year. So yes, more inventory, which brings pressure down. And that's probably why sellers are asking for less, because they're like, look, we noticed that we've got more competition now. There's more inventory on the market. However, because we're still in a starved market for inventory, they are still receiving 9.1% higher. Okay. So we'll need a little bit more inventory in order to make that level out more. So Okay, so months of inventory. This goes right into that next what do you call it, trend, if you will. Months of inventory. So we were at 3.1 months of inventory last month. We're at 3 months of inventory currently. So not really a significant change, 3.2% decrease, right? But still, that is considered a seller's market. Okay. Now, over here, year to date, it's a 47.4% increase because, like I mentioned, last year we were at 2.5 months of inventory, which is a severe seller's market. We're at 3.7 months of inventory currently. So we're actually moving towards that normal market, which that even bumping that threshold is 4 months, right? So we're at 3.7 months here in LA County, which is a great momentum moving forward. Okay, 47.4% increase. Average days on market has gone down 10.3% over last month. We were at 39 days on market last month. We're at 35 days on market currently in this month. However, it's gone up 18.2% overall year to date as compared to last year. So last year, this time we were at 33 days on market. Currently, we're at 39 days on market. Why? Because we have more inventory. So buyers have more choices. Takes a little bit longer for your properties to be sold. Okay, a little bit longer than it did last year. Okay, sold versus original list price has gone down 1%. So last month we were at 99% of list price. Currently we're at 98% of list price. Sellers are receiving 98% of their list price, which is high. That's almost 100%. They're happy, and as the listing agents, we have the opportunity to influence this number and help our sellers to get 100% of their list price if they list their properties correctly. So 0% change over last year. Last year, sellers were receiving 98% of list price. Currently, they are receiving 98% of list price. Okay, so no significant change at all over last year. So let's go to Orange County. So Orange County, for sale properties are up 14.4% over last month. Okay. And then up 73.3%. That's crazy numbers, right? Over last year. So we have much more inventory, right? We are, I mean, almost 75% more inventory than we did last year. And we still, you guys, will not be in a normal market in Orange County. You guys will see that because Orange County literally had 1 month of inventory last year. I mean, it was significantly low last year. It was crazy low. So you guys will see that, but you see that number. That number is because we needed it. And because sellers decided to get up off of their properties and say, we need to sell. We've been sitting too long, waiting to see what was going to happen. And they just decided, nope, we've got to make a change, right? Because sellers were sitting because they were the election, not knowing what was going to happen, all these uncertainties, right? The interest rates, all these uncertainties, and they just decided, no, we need to go ahead and make this change. So they got up off these properties to the tune of 73.3% increase in inventory over last year. So sold properties are up 10.6% over last month as compared to last month. However, we're down 0.3% as compared to last year. Okay. So we are not keeping pace in Orange County so far with our closings. Okay. Pendants are down 10.1% over last month. And right now, down 0.9% over last year. There's a lot of still uncertainty, especially with all of the changes with what's going on, with the government and things like that. So that's causing people to sit on the sidelines. That's causing people to try to figure it out, see the whole wait and see type of thing going on again. But before it was who's going to be in the office, and now it's what's happening, the policy changes and things like that. And there's always something, you guys, always going to be something. But there are certain buyers and sellers who are going to need to make a change. Those are the ones, it's called find the motivated. Those are the people that you've got to find now, not the people who have a choice or say, I don't know, I'm thinking of it. And you can't convince them. If you can't convince them, you can't convince
wait,
them.
who's going to what time? What time is the class? What time
I'm
is the
sorry.
class?
This is, can you hear me? Can everybody hear me?
Yes, ma'am, you're good to go.
Okay. I'm sorry, who is this that's signing on as guest? Okay, I think they went off. Okay. All right. Sorry, you guys. Um, all right. So let's keep it pushing. But do you guys understand what I'm talking about? That there's always going to be something.
You were saying find the motivated, the one who wants to sell now, not on the fence or whatever, or buy now.
Thank you, Danila.
Mhm.
Yes. You've got to find those motivated folks because those people are going to move regardless, right? Things that are happening in their lives are causing them to want to move. People who are tired of renting and they're starting to see that, look, I'm throwing my money away, regardless of what happens with whomever, whatever. I got a good job. My job is stable, right? I understand if your job is unstable and you're on the verge of possibly, being let go or whatever. Remember, we talked about conditions versus objections. Who can tell me the difference? I know I'm not trying to make this a class, but I just want to stress this point. Conditions versus objections.
I think it's that conditions is the part that's a must, and the objection is there's like flexibility, there's room in there. It's if this then that versus conditions is no, this is what it is.
And that just about right, Danila. You're absolutely right. Meaning a condition is an absolute, right? Meaning something you can't overcome. I lost my job. I can't buy a house, right? That's a condition. We can't overcome that, right? Unless they got a sugar daddy or a sugar mama that makes a bunch of money, right? But being that, you know what, oh no, my job is stable. I just don't know if I'm ready to buy right now. Well, what would it look like if you were ready? What would it take for you to be ready or for you to feel ready? And those are the objections that we can actually overcome. Okay. So, all right, let's keep going. So we need to find the motivated right now. Okay, let's make sure we're looking for those individuals. So we talked about solds being down 0.3%. Okay, so we're going to be watching that. Our penders are down 0.9% year to date. So one of the three major sales trends in Orange County, you guys, is in the green, which means we are not keeping up with the market of last year. And we've got to watch that because the prediction was that we are going to have more closings than there were last year to the tune of about 500,000 more closings. And that was in the beginning of the year. Now it's down to like 250,000 more closings because of all of the uncertainty in the market right now. Okay. But we are still supposed to be keeping up. But now we are moving into our most active time of the year. So we should see these numbers. We see these numbers change a little bit. Okay. So here we are. New listings are down 24.9% as compared to last month. However, up 10% over last year. Okay. So Orange County does have some new listing inventory increase to the tune of 10%. All right. Average active price has gone down 3% over last month. And average active price has gone down 9.3% over last year. Okay. However, it has increased 6.6% as compared to last year. The average sold price has increased 6.6% as compared to last year. For those of you who came on and are like, why is Brandy screen black? It is because I am having a challenge with my camera. It won't act right, you guys. It just refuses. So that's why you see a black screen. Otherwise, you guys know I'm right here on the camera with all my animation and it just ain't acting right. So, all right. But 6.6% increase. So they're asking for less and receiving more. Okay. So that is although the numbers look better on the side of the buyers, right? When they're looking at the asking price, they are absolutely, it appears that they're absolutely, there's appreciation there for the seller. So the seller is asking for less, but they're receiving more. So that is a good sign for the sellers in Orange County. And quite frankly, buyers as well. Okay, for buyers as well. So months of inventory, 4.8% increase over last year. Last year we had 2.1 months of inventory, and currently at 2.2 months. So you guys see, although there's a 73% increase in inventory, right? You're still at a seller's market. You guys see that? Last year we were at 1.5 months of inventory. Currently we're at 2.5 months of inventory. You see that? We're still in that severe seller's market. And we're having an increase of 68.8% absorption rate, right? So it is a huge increase. However, it was needed. It was needed. We still need more in order for us to be close to a normal market. Okay. So average days on market went down 12.9% over last month. We were at 31 days on market. Last month, we're at 27 days on market currently, and a 22.2% increase over last month. So last year, I'm sorry, we were at 27 days on market last year. We're at 33 days on market currently. So versus original list price, oh, there must be some big changes here this month. In Orange County, some big decreases because there's a 23.5% decrease. We were at 98% of list price last year, currently at 75% of list price. So you guys know Orange County, a lot of the homes in Orange County are luxury market, $1 million homes. And some of those $1 million homes start off really, really high, trying to see if fish the market, right? And then they'll drop a couple 100,000 because they realize, oops, we overshot. Okay, so that could be causing this big gap here. Could be a couple of those that are causing this big gap, because normally we never see a big gap like this. Okay, overall down 7.1% over last year. Last year, sellers were receiving 99% of list price. Currently, they're receiving 92% of list price. So my guess is that there is a couple of big anomalies in there causing this number to be like this. Again, as long as we're giving our sellers the right tools to make the right decision for their list price, we should not have this kind of disparity, right? We should be able to get our sellers 100%, 99%, 101% of their list price. All right, any questions before we keep moving? We good?
I do have a question, Brandon.
Go for it.
And how we have more inventory in Orange County, but then less closings, essentially. You know what I mean? How they're like, oh, you're supposed to be closing so much more. You're saying we need to keep up with that, and it's not yet, but we are at the booming season, so maybe we're gonna start catching up now. But like, oh, what kind of explains that? Does that make sense? What I'm asking?
It does. So we have much more inventory, right? And you're saying, but we still are seeing that the closings are lagging, right?
Right.
We don't have as much closings. Yeah. It doesn't make sense, because if we have so much more inventory, we should have more closings. The
Right.
reality though is that buyers are sitting on the sideline.
Got it.
Buyers are sitting on the sideline, and the predictions are saying that, or not the predictions, but the analysts are saying, like Lawrence Yun, National Association of Realtors, are saying things like, right now buyers are waiting because they are uncertain about all of the changes that are happening within the government, basically all of the policy changes that impact our economy, that are changing the cost of living, right? Because of the tariffs, right? And so they're like, well, if my grocery bill is going to go up, if my my services bills are going to go up,
Insurance.
then
Yeah.
yes, I don't have as much disposable income. And so then maybe I can't afford the kind of house that I'm thinking I can afford. And I need to wait and see how all of this is going to trickle downhill before I make these decisions.
Okay, that makes sense.
And that's the primary reason, and the interest rates, because the interest rates, although quite frankly, the interest rates have been holding pretty steady and have gone down a little bit, but still being higher in the minds of the buyer and the consumer, still being higher than they were, right? They are still thinking, okay, if I'm going to have higher costs because of everything that's going on, and
Mhm.
I'm going to pay a higher interest rate. Do I really want to buy now, or do I want to wait and see
Got it. Thank you
that
for
the
that.
interest rate may go down, or maybe these house prices are going to go down because of everything that's going on, right? So they're thinking there's going to be downward pressure. And quite frankly, one of the articles I'm going to share with you guys later suggests that others are thinking the same thing. Others who are experts are thinking the same thing. Okay. So good question though. Thank you for that. You guys come off mute, ask questions. This is interactive. You do not have to be silent. Ask your questions. All right. So Riverside County for sale properties has gone up 4.7% over last month, and up 47.2% over last year. So we have more inventory, more for sale properties on the market than there were last year, to the tune of 47.2%. Sold properties have gone up 8.1% over last month, and down 2.9% over last year. So not a huge downward increase or decrease, not a huge decrease, right? But definitely still something to watch, because we are expecting to be in the green, right, by the end of the year. Pendants are up 8.9% over last month, and up 3.9% over last year. So that's a great sign, right? Because we believe, right, if there's more pendants, that means those are going to trickle into closings, right? And hopefully we'll pace to pull us closer to net zero, and then get us an increase on the sold properties. Okay. And that means 2 out of the 3 major sales trends are in the green. So new listing inventory has gone down 16.7% over last month. However, still holding 9.9% higher over last year. So we still have more new listing inventory than we did last year. And that's a great sign. We expect that in Riverside and San Bernardino County, because we have a lot of builders out in those areas, because we have the land available, right? So we expect that. So we expect to see new listings out there. Average active price has gone up 1.6% as compared to last month, and 3.6% decrease as compared to last year. So average active price, sellers are asking 3.6% less than they did last year. However, they're receiving 2.2% more than they did last year. Okay, so very nominal amounts. I love to see this in Riverside and San Bernardino County. Actually, San Bernardino, we may see different. But in Riverside County, you see buyers are, which is maybe why we see the pendants going up. I know the solds didn't go up, but the pendants went up. But we see here, right, they are having a very small amount of appreciation. So still sellers are getting appreciation. However, buyers are probably feeling like they are getting closer to a deal, because they aren't paying so much more than they did last year, or would have paid last year. They're only paying 2.2% higher than they did last year on average, right? Some areas I'm sure are still way up there, and some are not, because Riverside is got huge areas, right? But you guys, I'm sure, understand what I mean. But very, very reasonable amounts of appreciation. They're asking again 3.6% less, receiving 2.2% more than they did last year. Months of inventory, and this would explain it, you guys. This would explain it. There's no change. We were at 3.7 months of inventory last month. We're at 3.7 months of inventory currently. 50% change as compared to last year. We were at 2.6 months of inventory last year. Look at that. We're at 3.9 months of inventory. So we're so much closer to that normal market, right? Which is why you see those numbers, these numbers look so reasonable, right? Because that normal market is getting closer and closer. Okay. All right, average days on market, 3.8% less than it was last month. We were at 53 days on market last month. We're at 51 days on market currently. 18.2% increase over last year. We are at 44 days on market last year. We're at 52 days on market. You get more inventory, you get more days on market. typically, okay? So versus original list price, 1% increase, over last month, we were at 96% of, 96% of original list price last month, and currently sellers are receiving 97% of their list price, okay? The same thing, but in reverse over last year. So last year, sellers were receiving 97% of their list price, and currently they're receiving 96% of their list price. Okay, more competition, typically more competition, and we can see prices go down a little bit. The reality though is this, is that more than likely this is being caused by sellers still having in their minds, you know, that price of last year and wanting to get that price, and then they're shooting for higher and having to drop it a little bit, or the buyers are negotiating down a little bit. Okay. All right, let's look at San Bernardino County. So San Bernardino County is up 11.6%. For sale properties are up 11.6% over last month, and up 45.7% over last year. Okay, so as you can see, again, that trend is not changing with any of the counties, is that we are seeing big increases in the amount of inventory that's going on the market. Sold properties is up 11.3% over last month, and up and down, 5.2% over last year as compared to last year, right? 5.2% decrease. So we are having less closings to the tune of 5.2% in San Bernardino County. Pendants are down 3.2% as compared to last month, and down 0.7% as compared to last year. So we will keep an eye on this, because 2 out of the 3 sales trends in San Bernardino County are in the red. So we will keep an eye on this and see if, like we said, we're in springtime. So moving into spring and summer, we typically see a push, because kids are out of school, parents move. There's just a lot more movement in the market in the spring and summer months. So we will see if that holds true and is able to bounce these numbers back. Okay. New listings are up 4% as compared to last month, and up 13.1% as compared to last year. So definitely still, again, keeping with the trend of more inventory coming on the market. Average active price has gone up 1.4% as compared to last month, and down 1.7% as compared to last year. So average active price down 1.7%. Again, that's the same with all of the counties, right? All sellers are asking less than they did last year, recognizing the market trend of more inventory. I need to price my home lower. And so in more competition, lower prices, right? 1.7% lower. However, also keeping with the trend, higher sold prices, right? So 5.9% higher than it was last year. So sellers are receiving 5.9% higher than they did last year. Again, this is normal amounts of appreciation. So this is great in San Bernardino County, where you're seeing that sellers are receiving almost 6%. They're happy. And it's not an astronomical amount of appreciation. Months of inventory is increased 2.5% over last month. We were at 4.1 months of inventory. We're currently at 4.2 months of inventory. Again, in this month, we're at that normal threshold of a normal market. We're just at the top, just at the beginning. Okay. 54.8% increase over last year. We were at 2.9 months of inventory last year. We're at 4.5 months of inventory currently, you guys. So we really are getting into that. We really are getting into that normal market in San Bernardino County. Okay. Average days on market. And when we talk about that, let me just when we talk about that normal market, let's just be clear. That means for your buyers, they have a little bit more leverage. They're not going to be in as much competition, if at all. And so it's a straight up transaction between the buyer and the seller, right? And so your buyer may have a little bit, it's not a buyer's market though. So it's not where the buyer gets to ask for the world and they're going to get it. It depends on the circumstance, right? But definitely it does give your buyer at least a fighting chance, because they're not 5 and 10 offers that they're competing against. They may compete against one and in some cases none, right? So then it's just the buyer and the seller having a fair negotiation, right? And you're basing it on the data, which means you're looking at what other homes have sold for in the area in the recent past, in the last 90 days, right? So it's a straight up transaction. So just wanted to say that. So okay, so we just talked about this. All right. So average days on market, we should see what we should actually see those numbers trickle into these numbers, right? So gone down 15.7% just in this last month. So we were at 51 days on market last month. We're at 43 days on market currently. So got a little bit more aggressive. However, overall has gone up 14.3% because we were at 42 days on market last year. Currently, we're at 48 days on market, which is what we would expect, right? If we have more inventory on the market, we should see longer days on market, right? So sold versus original list price has gone up 1% over last month. We were at 97% of list price. We're currently at 98% of list price. And there's no change from last year. So we were at 98% of list price last year, at 98% of list price currently. Okay. All right, guys. So that is it. Any questions before we move on regarding our sales trends or any comments? We good?
Yeah, we're good.
All right, Yvette. Thank you.
Thank you for
Great
the
information.
information.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, excellent
cool.
information.
Good. I'm happy you guys like it. I'm loving it. And if you guys want to see something else in this particular session, let me know. I'd love to hear any feedback. All right. So we've got some stuff going on. You guys know that. We've got group coaching today at 12 o'clock with me. I know you guys had Diana last week. I'm sure it was fabulous. And yes, I will be on camera because I won't be using this computer until we figure out what's wrong with this camera thing. So 5:30 we have our tech workshop with Eileen. She's going to be talking about our zip form templates. We've got conversations in real play in the morning with Diana, and that's going to be on tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. Is anybody been jumping on conversations in real play?
Yes.
I have.
Yep,
Oh,
I have.
Good. Yes. All right. Thank you, guys. I want you to do that. I'm telling you, if you have talked to me and you're like, oh my gosh, she's so well versed. If you think that, and I'm honored if you think that, but it is because I role play my tail off. I did this for years and years and years and years, and you guys, and I kept doing it even when I felt like I was good. I do it now. I literally do it now. The reason why we do, I don't know if any of you guys know this, some of you guys may, the reason why we have conversations in real play is because 3 years ago, I was getting out of practice of role playing. And I decided that the only way I would do it is if I made a class. And so I created this scripts and role play class, and I was the only one doing it. Not Diana, it was just me every day. And then we went to Tuesdays and Thursdays. So literally, you guys, I believe in this. This is what's going to take your business to the next level. If you can lead generate and you know how to put it together, you know how to talk to people, there's nothing that can stop you. You got to put in this work though. Right. And Omari can probably testify to this because I use sports. You guys know I'm a big sports geek. I use these analogies all the time. Players practice for hours and hours a day to play a 2-hour game a week, or maybe 2 or 3 games. I mean, literally, they're practicing their whole time just to play in the game. You don't get to the game cold, which is you don't get to your listing without having practice. You don't get in front of a buyer to do a buyer presentation without having practice. Does that make sense?
yes.
Yes, it does.
Absolutely.
Yes,
So-
absolutely.
So you guys, come on now. We got to practice, okay? And even if it's not in this, get some role play partners. If you guys need help with that, let us know. I can help you with that so that you guys can practice, because that's the secret sauce. All right, let's see what else. Oh, Ignite, you guys, we do have Ignite. It's still going. So if you still want to get in it, hit the QR code. You guys can take it at 6:30. It's 6:30. It is on Tuesdays, I think. And you guys can get in this. It is taught by coaches across the United States, actually, and it's really cool. And it teaches you on different topics of real estate. So if you get in it, if you sign up, because like an Eventbrite, if you sign up, then it'll send you the itinerary. So definitely for those of you who want to take the night class, I think it's about an hour and a half. Ed Bonilla, you guys, will be Wednesdays and Thursdays. He will not be here on Tuesday. Why? Because we have our team meeting on Tuesday. This Tuesday, let's go back because I think it's at 2:00. Yep, 2:00 this Tuesday. All righty, so be there. We also will be doing a new thing in our team meeting this week. We're going to be pitching your listing. So if any of our listing agents are on, if any of you guys got new listings, come and pitch your listing to your group. Or if you have buyers that need a certain type of home that you're having a hard time finding, then you're going to pitch your needs to your group so that we can all be on the lookout for that type of listing for your buyer. Okay, so Ed will not be here like he normally is, right, at 11 on Tuesday, because he will be here at 2:00 at the team meeting. All right, and then we have our tech workshop with Martha. On Wednesday. Then we have also Media Day on Thursday with Gary Watt. You guys know that's $50. And you're going to get your video. So this time it's going to be our video, 11 to 1 on Thursday. And then we've got Dial for Dollars with Victor, which I'm hearing great things about. I'm loving it. With Victor at 2:00 on Thursday. And then we have got a lunch and learn on Friday with Nancy talking about down payment assistance programs. You guys should be in this, if nothing else, for content. You guys could be giving this to your buyers and telling them about this content, or giving them in a video, telling them about this content. This is going to be really good. So that's one of the things that is, pressing right now is affordability. And most people, they make a good salary, right? But they don't have any down payment because they live paycheck to paycheck. That's very real, especially in my world, is very real. So down payment assistance can be really, really helpful. So definitely you want to be there for her lunch and learn on Friday at 12:00. All right. And then I just wanted to let you guys know, next week, Sage is going to be talking about, Sage is our NHD rep, and she's with my NHD. She's amazing. I love Sage. And she's going to be talking about the new fire maps, the recap of the California Association of Realtor forms, and giving us more information about that stuff. Again, you guys, it's our job to stay informed about what is going on. The more informed we are, the better we can serve our clients. Right? The more informed we are, the better we can serve. I get all the time people telling me how knowledgeable I am, and it's because I am a serial learner. Like, that's what I do, is I absorb this stuff, right? Because I know that that's what sets me apart from other agents who, this is their side gig, right? Or this is just their hobby. It's not my hobby. This is what I do, which means I've got to sow myself or absorb this information and be about learning so that I can teach and I can instruct my clients and give them the information to make the best decision for themselves and their families. And hey, thanks to Monica. You guys can thank Monica for this. We are doing a summer weight loss competition.
Yeah.
So,
Really?
I know, right?
Nice. I'm in.
Yes, you're in. Okay. So it starts May 1st. It's 2 months. Starts May 1st. It ends June 30th. Winner takes the pot, $40 entry. We've got to come. I think Monica has the details, but we're going to talk about it tomorrow at our team meeting as well. But we're excited, right? We all need to be healthier. And you guys know what? I was thinking about this on my cruise. We need to be healthier, right? Because we want to live we want to have good quality of life. You don't just want to live, you want to live with energy, and you want to live, just being able to experience things, not be hunched over and no, we want to live with energy and we want to be able to do all these things. And so some of us need to lose some weight, some of you don't. Some of you are perfectly fine the way you are. Um, so it's all good. But if you want to lose some weight and you want to get into this is going to be great because we can do it together, right? We can support each other, egg each other on, it'll be great. So join in. $40, join in. And we have a great cause for Red Day. We are building a play set for Amelia, who is our designated child, who has cancer, and she wants a play set. And we have joined forces with the Rock Solid Foundation that that builds these play sets for the kids. And so that's what we've decided to do. We need we need 20 of us to be here on Red Day, which is May 9th. You see it here, Red Day, May 9th. And we need your donation. So we also need your time, but we also need your donation because the play set is $2,500. Right now, I know we've got $1,100 already raised. We need more. Okay. So tell your partners, your people that you use, if you have other lenders, other title, tell them to donate to this. This is a great cause. And little Amelia, we need your help so that we can build the play set for Amelia on May 9th. It's going to be somewhere in LA. We'll give you the details. We're going to meet here and then go over, to the house. We're building it at her grandparents' house. Okay. So I'm excited. That's going to be a lot of fun. They give us full instructions and everything. So don't worry. You just go. You just be useful. And you got to sign up at the front desk. And that's where you also make your donation. All right, quickly, industry news. We have home value forecast takes a rare negative turn. So Zillow, you guys, is predicted the difference from March 2025 to March 2026 went from a barely positive number to a negative number. So they were predicting that this year that we would see that house prices were going to actually increase slightly, like a 2% appreciation. And now they're saying that, or 1.7%, or yeah, it was 2%. Now they're saying that it's going to go down 1.7%. And basically what they are talking about is that their predictions have come about because of the economic uncertainty, because of the interest rate volatility, because of the stock market and everything that has been, the volatility of the stock market, and people just taking that wait and see, right? They have been taking that wait and see type of stance toward the market. The job uncertainty. So all of those things rolled up are causing us to now see that, or causing them to forecast that homes won't appreciate this year, that they will actually depreciate to the tune of 1.7%. However, just keep in mind, you guys, this is Zillow's forecast. Now, Zillow has a lot of data, which is why it's relevant, right? They have economic experts that are right there on their side. And they have a lot of data. And so that's why that's why their opinion is relevant. Okay. Is because they are definitely looking at a lot of data and are able to make some level of predictions, but we're going to keep our eyes on this. This is why we look at our data. This is why we do what we do every Monday, is because we are keeping our eyes on the data and looking at the trends and what is actually happening so that we can know if this actually is true. And right now we are seeing in some counties, right, we're seeing 8-9% appreciation over last year. And in some counties like San Bernardino, right, we're seeing the small amounts of appreciation, right? So remember this, when we look at these, this industry news, this is nationwide. This is not for California. This is specifically nationwide. Okay. And then I just wanted to, let you guys know this, and you guys might have heard this, because see, the thing about it is our clients hear a lot of stuff, and sometimes they'll be like, oh, I heard the National Association of Realtors is getting sued again. Did you know? Well, yes, I knew. You can say, yeah, oh yeah, I know all about it. So mandatory NAR membership, because National Association of Realtors has said that it is mandatory that you have to have membership in order to have access to the MLS, right? You have to be a member of the National Association of Realtors in order to have access to the MLS. And they are creating a class action suit basically against that, that it should not be mandatory to be a member of the National Association of Realtors in order to gain access to that data. Okay, so they feel like our trade organization NAR has been unjustly enriched by forcing realtors to pay exorbitant amounts. So there's people in Delaware. It is Jerome Milko. He's a realtor. He's Delaware, Georgia, and Maryland filed an antitrust lawsuit, and others are joining into this. So just wanted to bring that up, that, there are lawsuits out there against the National Association of Realtors. Why is this relevant? It's relevant because these lawsuits and things like this, when you see our dues increase, it's because National Association of Realtors has to put out a lot of money, right, to defend themselves, to defend us. And a lot of that is, so it all rolls downhill. We end up paying more in our association dues. Okay. So, and in all honesty, I feel like there's got to be some level of accountability, restrictiveness to that MLS data, because it is it can be, some of it is considered highly confidential, like the private remarks and things like that. You just don't want anybody getting that information. That's how we as realtors communicate with each other. But at any rate, that is what's going on. They just came out with the MREA Spanish translation, you guys, for the Millionaire Real Estate Agent. So if you know any realtors that you feel like would benefit from the Spanish version of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, it is officially out. Well, I'm sorry, it is not. Books will be delivered summer of 2025. But this is exciting because we do have a lot of Spanish-speaking realtors or aspiring realtors, and this is a book that everybody should read. You guys know I call this the Real Estate Bible. Okay. Let's see, what did I have in the chat? Okay, all right, gotcha, Danila, thank you. All right, you guys. Oh, I'm sorry, I got to take that off there. No longer. That was her family reunion. So thank you guys so much for being here today and for participating. I love you guys and your participation. Thank you. I'm so sorry again that I can't be on camera, that my camera's not working.
You can see your smiling face through the non-working camera, though.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I try, girl. I try. Let's see. But yeah, that's all I have for today. Anybody else got anything going on?
No, there's a 12, sorry, I missed when you were going over the week snapshot. There's a 12 o'clock today, right?
Absolutely, my dear. Group coaching.
All right, just double checking.
Okay. And
Like
I said, I will be on camera. So for those of you who will attend on, I want you here in office, because that's the best. We can get the best energy together. But if you can't be here and you're on camera, then definitely we'll be there on Zoom.
Perfect.
All right, guys, have a good day. I'll see you tomorrow at 2:00 at our team meeting, if I don't see you today at 12.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye. Omari.
Yes.
How's it going?
Oh, it's going good. How are you?
I'm good. Have you gotten your orientation and everything yet?
Yeah, I did all
Okay,
that
good.
like last week.
Last week? Okay,
Yeah,
excellent, excellent. All right,
yeah,
good. Well, I'm happy that you're getting on board. Did you got your business cards ordered?
yeah. They're ordered. It's supposed
Perfect.
to be
All
here in like a
right.
day or two.
Okay.
Yeah,
Awesome. Well, good. Well,
yeah.
let me know if you need anything.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Talk to you
Bye.
soon. Bye bye.